The Steel Judoka, Sudoku Judoku, stop hitting yourself. These guys are one of my least favorite squads. They start with a fast armored prime mech. Were it not for its weapon, it would be the best prime mech in the game, and they are overall therefore faster than the average squad. But the big problem is they've got low damage to start, and they're very reliant on either finding better weapons or just getting good at lining the VEC up. And their weapons are also pretty restrictive on the times and places you can use them. So let's break them down. The first mech is the prime mech, the judo mech. It is armored and it has 4 move rather than the usual prime 3. It's armed with the melee weapon Vice Fist, which does 1 damage and grabs a unit and throws it behind you. The square behind you has to be empty, and it doesn't cost a quarter power. It is powered for free. It's got 2 upgrades. The first one is 1 core and it lets you move allied units without damaging them, and for 3 cores you can increase the damage by 2. Then you've got your ranged mech, which is a siege mech. It is armed with the indirect fire weapon Cluster Artillery. This weapon doesn't actually do anything to the targeted square, but it strikes all surrounding squares with 1 damage and knockback. It costs 1 quarter power. For 2 cores, you can greatly increase the flexibility of the weapon by making it not damage buildings, which lets you use it in so many more places, and another 2 cores increases the damage by 1. So yes, the highest damage this weapon can get to is 2. And then you've got the science mech, which is called Gravity Mech. It's armed with the indirect fire weapon Gravity Well. That pulls the target 1 tile closer. It costs nothing to power, it's got no upgrades, and it also carries VEC Hormones, which is a passive tech that increases the amount of damage that VEC deal to each other by 1. It costs 1 quarter power, and the first upgrade is a single core, increasing the damage they do to each other by 1, and for 2 cores it increases the damage VEC do to each other by a further 1. So the squad strategy, as emphasized by their achievements, is based around getting the VEC to kill each other. This is why the damage output of the squad is abysmal. Their attacks aren't about killing VEC, they're about positioning the VEC to attack each other, and this proves harder than you might think. That's the big problem, because the Judoku weapons are kinda hard to use. They need the VEC to play ball to a certain extent. You can only move an individual VEC so far. Even with focused fire, you can only move a single VEC up to 4 spaces, and a lot of VEC will only attack a single tile, so it can be very difficult to line the 2 up. Fireflies are your best friends here. When you do manage to do it, it feels great. You spend enemy turns just watching your foes tear each other apart. My biggest successes with this squad have been when I've been able to replace at least 1 or 2 weapons and just start killing the VEC. The first core investment for this squad is probably one of the more difficult decisions. Never sure where I should put it. The obvious candidate is either ally immune on the Vice Fist or +1 VEC friendly fire, but they don't really feel like they've got a big impact. Of the 2, friendly fire is probably the better one, but then I don't generally want to be investing cores in the gravity mech unless I've picked up a better weapon than Gravity Well. Also, beware of worms. Those guys are immune to knockback, which actually means that the Judo mech can't throw them and the Gravity Well mech can't maneuver them at all, which means you're either going to need to line up a convenient Firefly that's earlier in the attack order, or devote your artillery to taking them down. So what pilots are good with the Steel Judoka? They've got a science mech, so Kaz is a pretty good choice. He boosts the damage output of the squad and also provides a bit of flexibility, because then you can do knockback as well as pull with that mech. Also, given how important position is to these guys, Camilla is a fine choice. You don't want your judo mech tied down, and similarly Henry Kwan and Prospero both make it much easier to get your judo mech to the right spot. The extra movement afforded by Shenrong and Archimedes is also very useful, because that lets you take a shot to line some VEC up that would otherwise leave your mech in a line of fire. Finally, you can't have a mech double armored, so if you do get a don't put him in the judo mech, is very useful for getting unbreakable low, because 2 armored mechs obviously absorb twice as much damage as a single armored mech. So that's my advice about the Steel Judoka. Until next time, keep crushing those VEC. Bye.